In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to properly open or stretch pizza dough by hand. And this is opposed to the grave sin of rolling a pizza dough with a rolling pin, which condenses the texture and just ruins everything. All right, so this is how you want to really open up a pizza dough. So you want to start by using a copious amount of flour on your board. So just going to make the dough a lot easier to work with. And then dust both sides of your pizza dough that has been proofed. So this is our Neapolitan pizza dough. And you'll notice that it's really beautiful to work with because we went through that long fermentation process. So the first step is you're going to flatten it into a disc and then take the pads of your fingers. You don't want to use the tips. You want to use the pads of your fingers because they are a flatter surface. And you want to press the gas in the center of that dough out to the perimeter of that dough. Later, when you place the pizza in the oven, that gas will expand rapidly and give you a beautiful cornichon or crust. Now, as you do this, you might find some bubbles spring up on the edge, and those bubbles will expand and burn during the baking process. So if that happens, you want to just give them a pinch to pop those bubbles just like that and continue with the forming process. Now, once you press the gas out into the edges of the dough, and the dough has stretched enough to where you can place the palm of your hand inside the crust. It's big enough to do that. Then you're ready for the next step. And so you're going to place your right hand just gently down on the dough to hold it. And using your left hand, stretch the dough out to the 9 o'clock position. And you're going to use the fingers, the pads of your fingers, again, not your tips, but the pads, to catch right underneath where that perimeter is, right? So you have that gas-filled perimeter, which is going to be your crust. And you're going to catch your finger pads just underneath as you pull out gently. And let the dough talk to you. It'll tell you when it's done stretching. The side of the dough that is stretched to 9 o'clock is then going to be placed at 6 o'clock on your wrist. So you're turning your palm up as you stretch over, right? So stretch to 9, palm up, move to 6. Stretch to 9, palm up, move to 6. And each time you're doing that, you're giving the dough a quarter turn. Now, also, as you're flipping your palm back downwards, you're creating this quarter turn, which is giving you a little bit of rotation and centripetal force. And what that's doing is it's allowing the pizza dough to expand and stretch naturally by that centripetal force. So it's going to give you a rounder, more even stretch. Now, once you get better at this and you kind of get the muscle memory down, you go a little bit faster. And the faster you can do this, actually, the better, because the dough just opens up naturally into a disc, as shown here. So again, you have your 3 discs of Neapolitan pizza crust. And this is the same technique that I use to open up any sort of round pizza. And you can see that I first just gently flatten them into a disc, just kind of press them flat, and then I'm using the pads of my fingers to press the gas into the crust. And it's really important to allow the dough to kind of speak to you as you're going. You want to be able to feel the dough, feel how the gas is moving in the dough, feel its responsiveness. You can see how that gas moves to that perimeter. And then as I'm stretching the dough, I'm feeling it as I'm going, right? And it seems kind of, cheesy, but you really do have this relationship with the dough. The dough will speak to you. And so as you're stretching it, the dough will say, okay, that's as far as I want to stretch, right? And if you stretch it further, the dough is going to tear. It's going to form weak spots. And as you just kind of play patty cake with the dough and you're just going back and forth, you're stretching the dough to 9 and flipping to 6, stretching to 9, flipping to 6. The dough is going to just naturally open itself up into the proper size, which here for Neapolitan pizza is going to be a 12-inch disc. And this is going to be the most rapid way to open up your pizza dough or to stretch your dough by hand. And it's also going to give you the best results. So this is the most efficient way, but also too, when you use a rolling pin, it condenses the dough and it gives you a more dense texture, which is not what you want. You want your dough to be light and airy and chewy and delicious.